على سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. Yesterday, Morana spoke about the nafs and how there are three types of nafs. One is nafs ammara, one is nafs lawama, and one is nafs mutma'inna. So, this nafs is just like our bodies, that the way when we are born, our bodies are born on fitrah, on the pure deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, on the natural state in terms of health as well. But as we grow up, then, for example, in terms of health, if we begin to feed our bodies with bad things, then our body becomes unhealthy, it becomes ill, it becomes sick. The same way, then you need to work on it. Maybe go on a diet, begin to exercise, start eating healthy foods, and you can bring your body back to good health. So the same way with our spiritual soul, with our nafs as well. That if we don't look after our nafs and we let go of our nafs, then our spirituality, our spiritual soul, this becomes ill and it becomes sick as well. So we have to work on it to make it better. And today, many of our nafs today, our souls, that they have become quite sick. And the main reason is because of all the negative influences around us. So if we begin with social media, for example, that one of the most negative influence that we have today is our eyes. That how much zina of the eyes we do. That we are not careful of what we look at, what we consume, if I would say, not by mouth, but consume through our eyes. That the things we see. Because there's so much influence out there. For example, influencers. So we look at their lifestyle, we look at the fashion, okay, we look at the stars, whether it's sports stars, whether it's movie stars, whether it's music stars. So we look at that lifestyle and we become influenced by that lifestyle. So all these negative influences, they play a part in corrupting our nafs. And they are the PR media, PR moguls out there, that that's how the advertising works, that they target you in all different ways. So for example, you were studying in university that in the beginning after World War II or World War I or something, they wanted to increase the sale of tobacco. So they began to show pictures of women smoking. So now the men see a woman smoking, they're like, oh, I'm a man, I will smoke as well. So that drove up the sales of cigarettes as well. So any advertisement you will see, oh mashallah, a nice handsome man there, or a nice beautiful lady there, which has no connection with the product at all. But they put it together, then our mind brings them together and says, oh, if I do this, I'll also look nice in front of people. So all these influences, everything is there. And even so many things taking us away from the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that which, about Iman, putting doubts on our Islam, our Iman, all these TV shows that we consume, we watch, okay? So all these things, the conversations they have within these TV programs or movies, what these do is, they begin to put doubts about Islam in us as well. So all this negative influence around us, what does it do? It corrupts our nafs and it makes our nafs unhealthy. So we now have to put our nafs through some rectification. We have to make the nafs go through a process by which it needs to be purified. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran, He says, أَفَرَأَيْتَ مَنِ اتَّخَذَ إِلَهَهُ هَوَاهُ. Don't you see that those people who have made their desires, their Lord, rather than believing and following Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and making our desires subservient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what happens? We follow our desires. We do what we want. As I say, in Urdu say that man chahe zindagi. Whatever you want, you do. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَأَضَلَّهُ اللَّهُ عَلَى عِلْمِهِ وَخَتَمَ عَلَى سَمْعِهِ وَقَلْبِهِ وَجَعَلَ عَلَى بَصَرِهِ غِشَاوَةً. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then seals off their hearts. Allah seals off their ears, and Allah throws a veil over their eyes. and there is no hope for this person. Why? Because all his avenues are closed to him, because he has made his desires his nafs, his ilah, his Lord. So now he will not listen to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, rather he will listen to the dictates of his own nafs. It's like a person who has sugar, who has illness, diabetes for example, or is overweight, and he's being told, be careful with your diet, stay away from mithai for example, but which other person has a sweet tooth, so he can't help himself. So we feel sorry for him. We feel sorry for him that bichara, he can't help himself. But in fact, we should feel sorry for ourselves that what are we doing about our nafs? That what are we doing about our nafs? So we have to control our nafs and not let the nafs control us. And this nafs, it has all these negative influences. Why? Because it has a very good friend. And this friend of nafs is shaitan. Now, as long as the nafs and shaitan, they are together, then it is very difficult to battle. It's a more difficult battle. Why? Because you have shaitan and you have nafs. So, on one side, you have the nafs. In the middle, you have the nafs. On one side, the shaitan is pulling the nafs towards it. And on one side, it's us. That we want to do good as well. So now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He gave us the month of Ramadan. And the month of Ramadan, in a hadith, Rasulullah says, وَاسْتُفِدَتُ الشَّيَاطِينَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala locks away all the shayateen. So now what's happened? Allah has put the game in our favor. That now Allah has removed shaitan. It's only the nafs left. It's only the nafs left. So now it is more easier for us to overcome and to learn to control our nafs in the month of Ramadan. This is a favor Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us. But sometimes we find ourselves, the month of Ramadan is here and we are still carrying on committing sins. So for example, when you have coffee or tea or anything and you put your sugar or whatever in it and you mix it. After you mixed it for a long time and you remove your spoon, what happens? You will still see the mixing going on. So what's happening is the shaitan has influenced us so much that even when the shaitan is locked away, is out of the picture, we still carry on committing sins. Why? Because the influence of shaitan is there with us. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us the month of Ramadan to train ourselves. That already we enjoy eating food, we enjoy drinking, we have relation with our wives, with our spouses. So we enjoy all of that. But Allah in Ramadan is saying, you have to say no to this and stay away from this. So now we are training our nafs to say no. We are training our nafs to say no. So now it becomes easier for us that now we are told, protect your gaze, stay away from this. This is haram. This is something that you stay away from. You should do this. This is the sunnah. This is the habr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So now it becomes easy for our nafs to do what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants and to train our nafs to be obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us from those who learn to control our nafs in the month of Ramadan. Jazakallah.